Commander Taman stood before the massive screen in his ship's control room. For over 200 years, the signals from the small blue planet had been constant. Radio waves, data streams, and countless messages traveled through space from Earth to his people's listening stations. The humans never knew they were being watched. The Velth Empire had been studying Earth for decades. They learned the human languages, watched their wars, and understood their technology. To the Velth, humans seemed like children playing with simple tools. Their weapons were basic. Their ships could barely leave their own planet. They fought each other over land and resources while better worlds waited among the stars. Timon had spent years reading reports about Earth. The humans called themselves the dominant species, but they couldn't even unite their own world. They had over 200 different countries, each with their own leaders and armies. They polluted their air and water. They cut down their forests. They seemed to make every mistake a species could make. Dr. Heejin entered the control room carrying her data pad. She was the ship's expert on alien life forms. For months she had been tracking the signals from Earth, preparing for the day when the Velth would finally visit the human world. "Commander," she said, "I need to show you something strange." Taman turned from the screen. "What is it, Doctor?" Heejin touched her data pad, and numbers appeared on the main screen. "The human signals have changed. Look at this pattern from the last week." The screen showed lines and waves representing radio signals from Earth. For days, the signals had been normal. Then suddenly, they began to fade. One by one, the transmission sources went silent. "Maybe their equipment is breaking," Taman said. "Their technology is primitive." "That's what I thought at first," Heejin replied. "But look at this." The signals didn't just fade randomly. They stopped in a specific order. The military frequencies went first, then government communications, then civilian broadcast. It's like someone was turning them off on purpose. Taman studied the data. It was strange, but humans did strange things. Maybe they were having some kind of technical problem. Or maybe they were fighting another war. "How long since the last signal?" he asked. 48 hours, Heejin said. "Nothing at all. No radio, no television, no data transmissions. Earth is completely silent." The control room door opened and Admiral Dongwu walked in. He was the supreme commander of the entire Velth invasion fleet. Behind him came several other officers. Their faces were serious. "Commander Taemin," the admiral said, "report on the Earth situation." Taemin straightened. "Sir, all human communications stopped 2 days ago. We're trying to determine the cause." Admiral Dongwu nodded. "I've been in contact with High Command. They believe the humans have either destroyed themselves or suffered some kind of natural disaster. Either way, Earth is now available for colonization." Dr. Heijin stepped forward. "Sir, with respect, we don't know what happened." "The signal loss pattern suggests—" "Doctor," the admiral interrupted, "your job is to study life forms, not question military decisions. The High Command has decided. We launch the invasion fleet immediately." Taemin felt uneasy. Something about the situation didn't feel right. In all their years of watching Earth, humans had never gone completely silent. Even during their worst wars, some signals always continued. "Sir," Taemin said carefully, "perhaps we should send a scout ship first. To confirm the situation?" Admiral Dongwu's eyes narrowed. "Commander, are you questioning direct orders from High Command?" "No, sir. I just think—" "The humans are gone," the admiral said firmly. "Dead, fled, or hiding in caves like animals. It doesn't matter. Earth has water, good air, and land we can use. We've waited long enough." The admiral turned to address all the officers. "Prepare the fleet. We leave in 6 hours. The journey to Earth will take 3 months at maximum speed. When we arrive, we'll find an empty world ready for our people." As the officers left to prepare their ships, Dr. Heejin remained behind with Taemin. "I don't like this," she said quietly. "The signal pattern is too organized to be random. And why would an entire planet go silent at once?" Taemin looked at the data again. "Maybe you're right. But orders are orders. We have our duty. What if we're wrong about the humans?" Haijin asked. "What if they're more advanced than we thought?" "Look at their history," Taemin replied. "They still use chemical rockets to reach space. They still burn fossil fuels for energy. They couldn't hide from us even if they wanted to. Our sensors are too advanced." But even as he said the words, Taemin felt doubt growing in his mind. The humans had surprised them before with their creativity and stubbornness. During their wars, they had developed new weapons and tactics faster than the Velth had expected. What if this silence wasn't defeat? What if it was something else? 6 hours later, the Valth invasion fleet departed from their base. 200 ships carrying weapons, soldiers, and colonization equipment headed toward Earth. The journey would be long, but the reward would be great. A whole planet with perfect conditions for Valth life. As his ship entered hyperspace, Taemin looked at the star charts. Earth was just one small dot among billions of stars. Soon it would belong to the Valth Empire. The humans, whatever had happened to them, were no longer a factor. But in the back of his mind, a small voice kept asking, why had the signals stopped so suddenly? And why did it feel like they were walking into a trap? The fleet raced through space toward Earth, carrying with it the confidence of a superior species about to claim their prize. None of them suspected that their every move had been anticipated, their every plan already known. The silence from Earth wasn't the end of humanity. It was the beginning of something much more dangerous. 3 months later, Captain Jae-wook stared at his ship's scanner display. Earth floated before them, blue and white and beautiful. But something was wrong. The planet showed no signs of life. Lieutenant So-young, he called to his communications officer. Are you picking up any signals from the surface? So-young checked her instruments carefully. Nothing, sir. No radio transmissions, no heat signatures from cities, no electromagnetic activity at all. It's like the planet is completely dead. Jae-wook had commanded scout ships for 15 years. He had seen dead worlds before, planets where wars had destroyed everything, or where diseases had killed all life. But Earth didn't look destroyed. The cities were still there. The forests were green. The oceans were clear. It looked perfect, just empty. Take us into orbit, he ordered. Full sensor sweep. Engineer Kyung-ho worked at his station, running deep scans of the planet's surface. Sir, this is very strange. I'm seeing intact cities with no damage. Roads and buildings all look normal. But there are no people anywhere. The main screen showed images from Earth's major cities. New York stood tall and proud, but its streets were empty. London's buildings were undamaged, but no lights shone in the windows. Tokyo's towers reached toward the sky, but no cars moved on its highways. It's like everyone just disappeared, So-young whispered. Admiral Dong-woo's voice came over the communication system from the command ship. Captain Jae-wook, report. Sir, the planet appears to be uninhabited. No signs of human life, but no signs of destruction either. It's as if the entire population simply vanished. Excellent, the Admiral replied. Begin landing operations immediately. Send teams to secure the major cities and establish base camps. Jae-wook felt uneasy, but he followed orders. Within hours, Valth landing ships were descending toward Earth's surface. Teams of soldiers and scientists spread out across the planet, exploring the empty human cities. The first reports were confusing. Captain Minho led a team into Seoul. The city was perfectly preserved but completely empty. Cars sat in traffic jams with their doors open, as if drivers had simply gotten out and walked away. Restaurants had tables set with food still on the plates, but the food was somehow still fresh. This doesn't make sense, Minho reported to his ship. Food that should be spoiled after 3 months still looks like it was prepared yesterday. And some of these vehicles have fuel in them that's too pure for human technology. Similar reports came from teams around the world. In Berlin, specialist Yoonji found shopping centers with goods still on the shelves, but noticed that many electronic devices were far more advanced than their intelligence reports had suggested. In Cairo, Major Sung-woo discovered that the pyramids had been fitted with some kind of energy collection system that their sensors couldn't identify. Sir, Kyung-ho called from his engineering station, I'm getting some very strange readings. These humans had technology we didn't know about. Some of these buildings have power systems that are more efficient than ours. Jae-wook studied the data. That's impossible. We monitored their transmissions for decades. We know exactly what technology they had. Maybe they were hiding some of it, So-young suggested. From us, they didn't even know we existed. But as the days passed, more strange discoveries emerged. Human computers contained data about space travel methods that surpassed Valth engineering. Underground facilities held equipment that seemed designed for purposes the Valth couldn't understand. Most disturbing of all, some locations showed signs of recent activity. Even though no humans could be found, Captain Jae-wook was reviewing reports in his ship when Lieutenant So-young called out urgently, Sir, we have a problem. Team 7 in London has missed their scheduled check-in. How long overdue? 2 hours, sir. They were exploring some underground tunnels near the Thames River. Jae-wook frowned. 2 hours wasn't long, but his teams were disciplined. They always reported on time. Try to reach them again. So Young worked her controls. No response, sir. But there's something else. Their tracking signals have vanished from our system. Equipment failure? I don't think so, sir. The signals didn't fade or get weaker. They just stopped, all at the same time. A cold feeling grew in Jae-wook's stomach. He ordered another team to investigate. But they found no trace of the missing soldiers. No weapons, no equipment, no signs of struggle. The team had simply disappeared. Over the next week, more teams went missing. A patrol in New York vanished while investigating Central Park. A science team in Moscow disappeared from inside a research facility. Each time, their signals stopped suddenly with no warning. Sir, Kyung-ho reported during a morning briefing, I've been analyzing our equipment failures. Something is interfering with our technology, but only in specific ways. It's like someone understands exactly how our systems work. Jae-wook called Admiral Dongwoo to report the situation. Sir, we've lost contact with multiple teams. Something is happening on this planet. What kind of something? The Admiral demanded. We don't know, sir. Our people are disappearing without any signs of what's taking them. And our equipment is malfunctioning in ways that seem deliberate. There was silence on the communication line. Finally, the Admiral spoke. Captain, are you suggesting that the humans are still alive? I'm suggesting that something on this planet doesn't want us here. Impossible. Our sensors show no life forms large enough to threaten our forces. Then how do you explain the missing teams? Equipment failures, accidents, poor discipline. Continue the mission, Captain. That's an order. But Jae-wook knew it wasn't accidents. Someone or something was hunting his people. Someone who understood Velth technology well enough to disable their tracking systems and make entire teams disappear without a trace. That night, as he looked down at Earth from his ship's bridge, Jae-wook realized they had made a terrible mistake. This wasn't an empty world waiting for colonization. It was a trap, and they had walked right into it. The humans weren't gone. They were hiding, watching, and learning, and now they were starting to fight back. Lieutenant So-young, he said quietly, try to contact High Command. Tell them we need reinforcements. So-young tried her instruments, then looked up with fear in her eyes. Sir, I can't reach them. Something is blocking our long-range communications. Jae-wook stared at the planet below. Somewhere down there, humans were still alive, and they were much more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Colonel Minho crouched behind the ruins of a human vehicle in downtown Manhattan. Around him, his remaining soldiers kept watch for an enemy they couldn't see. In 2 weeks, his force of 200 had been reduced to 37. The others hadn't died in battle. They had simply vanished. Sir, whispered Specialist Yoonji. Motion detected 3 blocks north. Something big moving through the buildings. Minho checked his scanner. It showed nothing. For days now, their equipment had been unreliable. Sensors would show clear areas that turned out to be full of danger. Communication devices would work perfectly, then fail at critical moments. It was as if someone was playing with them. How many of our people disappeared last night? He asked. 6, sir. They were on guard duty around the perimeter. We found their weapons and equipment in neat piles, but no bodies. Minho had seen war before. He had fought against armed rebels and dangerous creatures. But this was different. His enemy never showed themselves, never left tracks, never made mistakes. They struck without warning and vanished without trace. Sir, another soldier called softly, you need to see this. The soldier led him to a human building that their teams had searched many times. Inside, they found something new. The walls were covered with detailed maps of their landing sites, pictures of their ships, and technical drawings of Valth weapons and equipment. This wasn't here yesterday, the soldier said. We checked this building completely. Minho studied the information on the walls. Every detail was perfect. The drawings showed parts of Velth technology that only their engineers should know about. Someone had been watching them very carefully. Sir, Yoonji called from across the room. There's writing here in our language. Minho walked over to see Velth words written neatly on the wall. You are not the hunters here. You are the prey. A chill ran down his spine. Not only were the humans still alive, but they had learned the Velth language. They knew about Velth technology, and they were studying the invaders like specimens in a laboratory. His communication device crackled with static, then cleared. Major Sung-woo's voice came through from his position in Central Park. Colonel Min-ho, we have a big problem. I'm looking at a human facility that wasn't here this morning. What kind of facility? Underground complex, but the entrance is new. And sir, there are lights inside. Active power systems. Someone built this recently. Min-ho felt ice in his stomach. How recently? Hours, maybe less. The construction materials are still warm. But here's the strange part. The technology is beyond anything we've seen. This isn't primitive human engineering. Before Min-ho could respond, the communication cut off. He tried to call Major Sung-woo back but got only silence. Another team had disappeared. Yoonji was studying her tracking device. Sir, I'm showing multiple energy signatures all around the city. Underground power sources that weren't there an hour ago. How is that possible? I don't know, sir. But they're big. Really big. Like massive industrial complexes running under our feet. Min-ho realized they were standing on top of something huge. The humans hadn't abandoned their cities. They had moved beneath them. And while the Velt had been exploring empty buildings on the surface, an entire civilization had been operating in secret below. His remaining soldiers gathered around him as strange sounds began echoing from underground. Machinery humming, power systems activating, the sound of many people moving through tunnels beneath their feet. Sir, one soldier said nervously, what are your orders? Before Min-ho could answer, the street began to shake. Not like an earthquake, but like heavy equipment moving underground. All around them, manholes covers started lifting slightly, releasing small clouds of steam. They're coming up, Yoonji whispered. Min-ho ordered his soldiers to defensive positions, but he knew it was useless. They were 37 soldiers on an alien world, surrounded by an enemy that had been preparing for this moment for months or maybe years. The humming grew louder. Lights began appearing in buildings that had been dark for weeks. The empty city was coming alive around them. Colonel, a voice said behind him. Min-ho spun around, weapon ready. A human stood there calmly, wearing some kind of advanced armor that made him nearly invisible. He looked young, maybe 30 years old, with dark hair and intelligent eyes. My name is Dr. Young-sik, the human said in perfect Veilth language. We need to talk. Min-ho's soldiers aimed their weapons, but the human didn't seem worried. Your weapons won't work, Young-sik said gently. We've been adjusting your equipment for weeks. The power cells are drained, the targeting systems are disabled, and the firing mechanisms have been altered. Min-ho tried to fire his weapon. Nothing happened. Around him, his soldiers discovered the same thing. Their advanced Veilth weapons had been turned into useless metal. How? Min-ho demanded. We've been studying your technology since your first scout probes arrived in our system 3 years ago, Young-sik explained. Did you really think we wouldn't notice ships watching us from the edge of our solar system? 3 years ago. Min-ho felt sick. The humans had known about the Velt for 3 years and had been preparing. Impossible, he said. Your technology is primitive. Your signals showed us everything. Young-sik smiled. Our signals showed you exactly what we wanted you to see. We've been very careful about what information we let you intercept. More humans began appearing from hidden positions around the street. They wore the same advanced armor and carried weapons that looked far more sophisticated than anything in Veilth intelligence reports. You see, Colonel, Young-sik continued, we knew you would eventually come. Species like yours always do. You watch a world, decide its people are weak and then attack. But we're not like the other species you've conquered. What do you want? Min-ho asked. Information. We want to know about your fleet, your homeworlds, your military capabilities. We want to understand everything about the Veilth Empire. I won't tell you anything. Young-sik nodded. We thought you might say that. But don't worry, Colonel. We don't need you to talk. We have better ways of getting information. The human gestured to his companions. They began moving forward, carrying devices that Min-ho didn't recognize. What are those? Learning tools, Young-sik said. We're very good at learning. It's one of humanity's greatest talents. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from our enemies, and we learn from their technology. As the humans surrounded them, Min-ho realized the terrible truth. This hadn't been an invasion. It had been a research project. The humans had been studying the Veilth invasion force, learning everything about their equipment, their tactics, and their capabilities. And now that they had learned enough, the real war was about to begin. Dr. Young-sik walked through the underground facility beneath New York City. The tunnels stretched for miles in every direction, filled with advanced equipment and thousands of human workers. Above them, the Valth invaders still searched empty buildings, not knowing that an entire civilization operated beneath their feet. "Report," he said to General Haiwan, who stood before a massive wall of monitors showing Valth positions around the globe. "We've captured representatives from every major unit in their invasion force," the general replied. "Our learning process is complete. We now understand their technology, their tactics, and their command structure." Youngsik nodded. For 3 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. When their deep space sensors first detected Vyelth observation probes at the edge of the solar system, Earth's governments had done something unprecedented. They had united completely. Every nation had contributed to the project. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, and leaders from around the world had worked together with one goal: to be ready when the aliens came. The communication blackout had been the final step in their preparation. "Show me the fleet status," Youngsik requested. General Haiwan touched a control, and the monitors changed to show space around Earth. 200 Valth ships floated in orbit, their crews unaware that human sensors were tracking their every movement. "They still don't know we can see them," the general said. "Our stealth technology is working perfectly," Youngsik smiled. The humans had learned much from the captured Valth equipment. Not just how it worked, but how to make it better. Human engineering had always been creative and adaptive. Given alien technology to study, they had improved it beyond what its creators thought possible. "Are our people ready?" Youngsik asked, standing by in all positions. "We have teams aboard 60% of their ships, and we're tracking the rest. When you give the order, we can disable their entire fleet in less than 10 minutes. The plan had been simple but required perfect timing. Let the aliens invade. Let them think they had won. Study them completely, then turn their own technology against them." Director Kaite entered the control room. He was the man who had organized the entire deception operation. For 3 years, he had coordinated the efforts of every government on Earth. "Doctor, it's time," he said. "The final phase begins now." Youngsik nodded. He walked to the communication console and activated a transmission system that had been hidden for months. All around the world, similar transmitters came online. The communication blackout was ending, but not the way the Valth expected. "Open channels to all Valth ships," Youngsik ordered. "Channels open, sir." Youngsik spoke clearly into the microphone. His words would reach every alien ship in orbit and every Valth soldier on the planet's surface. "Attention, Valth Empire forces. This is Dr. Youngsik of United Earth Command. Your invasion of our world has been allowed to proceed for research purposes. You are now our prisoners." On the monitors, they could see confusion spreading through the alien fleet. Ships began trying to power up weapons and shields, but nothing happened. "Your ship's systems have been compromised," Youngsik continued. "Human technicians have been aboard your vessels for weeks making modifications to your equipment. Your weapons are disabled, your engines are locked, and your life support systems are under our control." General Haiwan smiled as reports came in from around the globe. Valth ground forces were discovering that all their equipment had stopped working. Vehicles wouldn't start, communicators were silent, and even their basic tools had been altered. "How is this possible?" came a transmission from one of the alien ships. "Very simple," Youngsik replied. "We knew you were coming 3 years ago. We knew when you would arrive, how many ships you would bring, and what technology you would use. We've been preparing for this invasion since before you left your home system." Director Kite stepped to another microphone. "Let me explain something about humanity that your intelligence reports missed. We are very good at learning. When we discovered your observation probes, we didn't panic. We studied them. We learned your language, your technology, and your psychology. The truth was more complex than the aliens could imagine. Human scientists had not only captured and reverse-engineered Valth technology, they had improved it dramatically. The primitive species the aliens came to conquer had been holding back their true capabilities for decades. The communication blackout was our idea," Youngsik explained. "We needed you to think we were gone so you would come close enough for us to study you properly. Every signal you monitored, every transmission you intercepted, was carefully designed to make you underestimate us. Images appeared on the Valth ship's screens showing the true scope of human preparation. Underground cities that could house millions of people. Weapons that made Valth technology look like toys. Starships hidden in asteroid fields throughout the solar system. You thought you were invading a primitive world," Director Kite said. You were actually entering a laboratory where you were the test subjects. Admiral Dongwu's voice came over the communication system, angry and desperate. This is impossible. Our sensors showed no advanced technology. Your sensors showed exactly what we wanted them to show, Young-sik replied. We've been controlling your observations since your first probe entered our system. Every piece of information you gathered about Earth was filtered through our systems first. General Haewon activated another set of monitors. These showed the locations of major Velth military bases and homeworlds, all gathered from the navigation computers of the captured fleet. Thank you for the detailed maps of your empire, the general said. We now know the location of every important Velth installation within 50 light-years of Earth. Young-sik looked at the data with satisfaction. The aliens had not only given humanity the technology to build advanced starships, they had also provided detailed information about where to use them. We could destroy your ships now, Young-sik said into the microphone. We could kill every one of you and take your technology. But that's not who we are. Instead, we're going to send a message to your empire and every other alien civilization watching our world. Director Kite activated the final phase of their plan. Around Earth, massive transmission arrays began powering up. These weren't the primitive radio transmitters the aliens had been monitoring. These were quantum communication systems built with improved Velth technology. This transmission will reach every corner of the galaxy, Kite announced. Every species that has been watching Earth will receive our message. Young-sik spoke into the microphone one final time. To every alien empire that saw humanity as weak, to every species that planned to invade our world, listen carefully. You made one critical mistake. You assumed that because we didn't show our strength, we didn't have it. Today you will learn why that was wrong. The transmission began broadcasting across the galaxy, but this wasn't just a message. It was a declaration of war against anyone who threatened Earth, and humanity was ready to fight. Admiral Bora stood on the bridge of the human flagship as it emerged from its hiding place in the asteroid belt. Around her, dozens of human ships decloaked simultaneously, revealing themselves to the trapped Velth fleet. The alien vessels looked primitive compared to the sleek human warships that now surrounded them. All ships report ready, Admiral, Captain Junseo announced from his position at the tactical station. Bora looked at the main screen, which showed the Velth fleet hanging helplessly in Earth's orbit. Their weapons were disabled, their shields were down, and their engines were locked. 3 years of preparation had led to this moment. Open a channel to the lead Velth ship, she ordered. Admiral Dongwu's face appeared on the screen. He looked older than he had 3 months ago, and his eyes showed the fear of a predator who had suddenly become prey. Admiral Dongwu, Bora said calmly, I am Admiral Bora of the United Earth Defense Force. Your invasion of our world has failed completely. This is impossible, Dongwu replied, but his voice lacked conviction. Your species is primitive. Our technology is superior. Was superior, Bora corrected. Your technology became ours the moment you entered our system. We've been improving it ever since. She gestured to Captain Junseo, who activated a demonstration. One of the captured Velth ships suddenly began moving, despite its crew's attempts to control it. We now control every system on every one of your ships, Bora explained. Your people are alive only because we choose to keep them that way. President Wu Jin's image appeared on screens throughout the Velth fleet. He sat in the Oval Office, but the background showed Earth as it really was. A world filled with advanced cities, powerful weapons, and millions of people ready for war. Attention all alien forces, the president began. 3 years ago, humanity detected your observation probes. We realized that invasion was inevitable, so we made a choice that has never been made before in human history. The president paused, letting his words sink in. Every nation on Earth put aside their differences and worked together for one goal, to be ready for you. We united our militaries, combined our technologies, and prepared for the day when aliens would try to conquer our world. Images flashed across the alien ship's screens, showing the true scope of human preparation. Underground factories that had produced thousands of advanced weapons. Hidden shipyards where human engineers had built starships using improved alien technology. Training centers where soldiers had learned to fight wars in space. The communication blackout was our final preparation, President Wu Jin continued. We needed you to believe we were gone so you would come close enough for us to capture your technology and learn your capabilities. Admiral Dongwu's face showed growing horror as he understood the full scope of the trap. You used us, he whispered. You used yourselves, Bora replied. You came here planning to destroy us. Instead, you gave us everything we needed to destroy you, Captain Junseo reported from his station. Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from 60% of the Valth fleet. The others are trying to activate self-destruct systems. Prevent the self-destructs, Bora ordered. We need those ships intact. Already done, Admiral. Their self-destruct systems were the first things we disabled. President Wu Jin's transmission continued. Now we come to the important part. The navigation computers from your ships have provided us with detailed maps of your empire. We know the location of every Velth world, every military base, every important installation. The screen changed to show star charts with Velth territories clearly marked. Red symbols indicated military targets. Blue symbols showed civilian populations. Green symbols marked industrial centers. We could attack all of these locations simultaneously, the president said. We could destroy your civilization completely. But that's not who we are. Admiral Dongwu looked confused. What do you want? President Wu Jin's expression grew serious. We want to send a message to every species in the galaxy. A message that any civilization considering an attack on Earth will remember. Bora activated her ship's weapon systems. Around Earth, dozens of human warships powered up weapons that made Valth technology look like children's toys. This is our message, the president announced. Humanity is not a primitive species waiting to be conquered. We are not weak because we stayed on one world. We are not helpless because we fought among ourselves. The transmission was being broadcast across the galaxy now, reaching every species that had been watching Earth. The message was simple but devastating. We are humans, President Wu Jin said. We learn from our enemies. We adapt to any threat. We unite when we must, and we never ever give up. Bora spoke directly to Admiral Dongwu. Your fleet will be returned to Velth space with our terms. Your military will be disbanded. Your weapons will be destroyed. Your empire will never again threaten any peaceful world. And if we refuse? Dongwu asked. Captain Junseo answered for her. Then you won't get the chance to refuse. Our ships are already in position around your home worlds. The screen showed images from Velth space. Human vessels invisible to alien sensors had been in position for days. The entire Velth Empire was surrounded and helpless. How? Dongwu whispered. We learned your hyperspace routes from your navigation computers, Bora explained. We built ships faster than yours using improved versions of your own technology. We reached your worlds before your surrender was even complete. President Wu Jin delivered the final part of his message. To every alien civilization receiving this transmission, Earth is now under human protection. Any species that threatens our world or any world under our protection will face the full power of humanity. The transmission ended, but its impact would be felt across the galaxy for generations. Humanity had announced itself as a major power, and they had done it by turning an invasion into a demonstration of their capabilities. Admiral Bora looked at the defeated Velth fleet. Begin escort procedures. Take them home. As the human ships prepared to escort their prisoners back to Velth space, Bora thought about the future. Other alien species had been watching this confrontation. Some would be frightened. Others would be angry. A few might even try to attack Earth themselves. But they would all know one thing. Humanity was no longer the weak, primitive species they had been observing. Earth had become something much more dangerous. Captain Junseo approached her station. Admiral, we're receiving messages from 17 different alien civilizations. Most are requesting peaceful contact, Bora smiled. Fear and respect often looked very similar from a distance. Send standard diplomatic responses, she ordered. But keep our fleets on alert. Today we won our first interstellar war. It probably won't be our last. As Earth ships headed toward Velth space, carrying news of humanity's emergence as a galactic power, one thing was certain. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again.